Nestled on the outskirts of a forgotten town, there lay a house shrouded in an eerie silence. The locals whispered its name in hushed tones, Willow Creek Manor. Once a proud testament to architectural grandeur, it had decayed into a shadow of its former self. Tall, dark trees loomed over its cracked roof, their twisted branches casting skeletal shadows across the broken windows. Few dared to approach, but those who did claimed the air around it felt heavy, as if the house itself was watching. Henry, a devoted family man, was not one to be swayed by ghost stories. His wife, Emma, and their 2 children, Lily and Ethan, had moved to the area for a fresh start. Life in the city had become unbearable, and this old manor had been a bargain too good to pass up. Henry brushed off the realtor's hesitation as nothing more than superstition. After all, it was just a house. On their first evening, they unpacked in a flurry of excitement. The children raced through the creaking halls, their laughter echoing like faint whispers in the cavernous space. Emma, despite her unease, smiled at her husband. "It's perfect, isn't it?" she asked. Henry nodded, though he felt a peculiar draft brush past his neck. Shaking off the sensation, he began organizing the living room. As night fell, the family settled in for their first meal in their new home. The dining room was dimly lit by a single chandelier, its crystals refracting light in strange, distorted patterns. The atmosphere felt oddly intimate, as if the walls themselves leaned in to listen. Lily broke the silence. "I think I heard someone upstairs earlier," she said, her voice tinged with curiosity. Henry chuckled. "It's an old house, sweetheart. Old houses make noises." Emma's smile faltered. "Maybe we should check it out? Just to be sure." Reluctantly, Henry grabbed a flashlight and ascended the grand staircase. Each step groaned under his weight. The second floor was colder, the air tinged with a faint metallic smell. The flashlight's beam cut through the darkness, revealing cobwebs and peeling wallpaper. At the end of the hallway, a door creaked open. "Hello," he called out, his voice betraying his nerves. Silence. He stepped closer, his flashlight trembling slightly in his grip. The room was empty save for an old rocking chair that swayed gently, as if recently disturbed. Henry froze. The chair stilled, and he could have sworn he heard a faint whisper, "Leave." Downstairs, Emma and the children waited in tense silence. When Henry returned, his face was pale. "It's nothing," he said quickly. "Just the wind." The days that followed were filled with small, unsettling events. Objects moved from where they had been placed. Shadows seemed to dance in the corners of their vision. Ethan began speaking to someone he called the lady. Emma's unease grew, but Henry dismissed her concerns. One stormy night, everything changed. The wind howled, rain lashed against the windows, and the house seemed to groan under the weight of the storm. Lily woke up screaming. "She's in my room," she cried. Henry and Emma rushed in to find their daughter huddled in a corner, pointing at the wardrobe. "There's nothing there, darling," Emma soothed, though her voice quivered. Henry flung the wardrobe doors open, finding only dusty shelves. But as he turned away, a deafening crash echoed from downstairs. The family rushed to the living room, where they found the chandelier shattered on the floor. Above it, the ceiling bore deep, claw-like marks. The family decided to leave the next morning, but the house seemed to have other plans. Doors refused to open. Windows wouldn't budge. The phone lines were dead. Trapped, they huddled together in the living room, the flickering fireplace their only source of light. Ethan stared into the flames and whispered, "She's coming." "Who?" Henry demanded, his voice trembling. "The lady," Ethan replied. "She's angry." As the clock struck midnight, the room grew unbearably cold. A figure emerged from the shadows, her form indistinct but terrifying. Her eyes burned like embers, and her voice was a guttural hiss. "Why are you here?" she demanded. Henry stepped forward, shielding his family. "We mean no harm." "We didn't know." The spirit's laughter was chilling. "You cannot leave. This is my home. You are mine." Emma clutched her children, her mind racing. In the chaos, she remembered an old book they'd found in the attic, a journal detailing the manor's history. She frantically flipped through its pages, finding a passage about the original owner's tragic demise. "We have to lay her to rest," Emma realized. Henry grabbed the book and recited the incantation scrawled in its margins. The spirit screamed, her form distorting as the words took effect. The air grew heavy, the walls shuddering as if the house itself resisted. Finally, with a deafening roar, the spirit vanished, leaving the family trembling but unharmed. The next morning, the doors and windows opened with ease. The family didn't look back as they drove away, leaving Willow Creek Manor to its silence. The house stood as it always had, waiting for its next visitors, its secrets buried but never forgotten. And so, my dear listeners, if you ever stumble upon a house that whispers your name, heed its warnings. Not all doors are meant to be opened, and not all homes are meant to be lived in. If you enjoyed this tale and want to uncover more spine-chilling stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Learn English with Maria. There's so much more waiting for you, if you dare.